Asari had nothing to give his wife, Emma, except the land he worked hard on. Asari loved his wife and worked hard on the farm to provide food for them. But Emma was not satisfied. She always wanted more money, more food, and more nice things. One day, while Asari was working on the farm, he found something shiny buried under the soil. It was a small golden pot. Surprised, he brought the pot home to show Emma. When Emma saw the golden pot, her eyes lit up with excitement. She said, "Asari, this pot must be worth a lot of money. We can sell it and become rich." But when Asari placed the pot on the table, something magical happened. The pot spoke. "I am a special pot. If you care for me and share my blessings with others, I will give you as much food as you need." Asari was amazed. He thanked the pot and placed it in a special corner in their kitchen. The next day, they found the kitchen filled with fresh yams, vegetables, and other food items. Asari wanted to share the food with their neighbors, as the pot had asked. But Emma had other ideas. "Why should we share?" she said. "Let's keep it all for ourselves and ask the pot for more." Asari didn't like this idea, but he didn't want to argue with his wife. So they kept the food and asked the pot for more. Every day, the pot filled their kitchen up with more and more food. Emma became greedier, asking the pot for riches, gold, and fine clothes. But no matter how much the pot gave, it warned them. "Do not be greedy, only take what you need and give the rest to others." Emma ignored the warning. One night, while Asari was asleep, she whispered to the pot, "Give me gold, enough to fill this house." Emma thought of going to a big city and sell them. Suddenly, the golden pot began to shake. It grew hotter and hotter until Emma had to drop it. The pot cracked and a bright light flashed out of it. The house shook and all the gold, food, and fine things Emma had wished for earlier disappeared in an instant. Emma stood frozen, staring at the broken pot. She realized her greed had caused all their good fortune to vanish. But just as she was about to speak, the pot spoke one last time. "You have been warned. Your greed will bring you more trouble than you can imagine." And then the pot went silent. Asari woke up and saw the broken pot. "Emma, what have you done?" he cried. Before she could answer, a strange sound echoed through the village. The strange sound grew louder and louder, like a great wind rushing through the village. Asari and Emma ran outside and saw their neighbors gathering, all looking confused and scared. The sky had turned dark and the trees were shaking. Then from the ground, where the golden pot had cracked, a huge cloud of dust rose up. Out of the dust stepped an old man, tall and wearing a long robe. His eyes glowed with a golden light, and his voice boomed across the village. "I am the spirit of the golden pot," the old man said. "This pot was a gift meant to bless you with all you needed. But your greed has broken the trust between the land and the people." Asari fell to his knees and begged, "Please forgive us. I did not want to be greedy. It was a mistake." The spirit looked at Asari and said, "You, Asari, are a good man. You wanted to share the blessings, but Emma, your wife, let her greed control her heart." Emma, scared and shaking, tried to defend herself. I only wanted a better life. I thought the pot could give us everything we wanted." The spirit shook his head. "You forgot that the most important thing is to be thankful for what you have. Now, because of your greed, you will face the consequences. Suddenly, the ground under their house began to crack, and the house slowly sank into the earth. Emma screamed as all their property they had disappeared into the hole, leaving nothing behind but dust. You will have to work hard to fix the damage you have caused, the spirit said. Your greed has brought you trouble, but there is still hope. If you learn to be kind and share, you may earn back what you lost. But until then, you will live with nothing but the basics. The spirit disappeared into the wind, and the sky cleared. The villagers stared in shock, whispering to each other. Asari turned to Emma, who was crying. We must change, Emma, Asari said gently. We can rebuild, but we must do it with kindness in our hearts. Emma nodded, wiping her tears. I'm sorry. I see now that I was wrong. I promised to be better. But as they began to gather the little they had left, a shadowy figure watched them from the edge of the forest. It seemed that the trouble caused by Emma's greed was not over yet. As Asari and Emma started to rebuild their lives with hard work and humility, the shadowy figure at the edge of the forest grew closer each day. It was a man no one had seen before, tall and dressed in a dark cloak, with eyes that seemed to shine in the night. The villagers whispered about him, wondering who he was and why he had come to their quiet village. One evening, while Asari was busy mending the roof of their small new hut, the mysterious man finally approached them. He stood tall before Asari and Emma, his voice deep and smooth. I have heard of your misfortune, he said. The golden pot that brought you riches has now left you with nothing. But what if I told you I can bring back your wealth, more than you ever dreamed? Emma's eyes widened, and for a moment, the old greed flickered inside her. But Asari quickly stepped forward. We don't want riches anymore. We've learned our lesson. The man smiled, but there was something cold in his smile. Have you, really? A simple life is good, but with wealth, you could help the village. You could build schools, feed the hungry, and live in comfort. Emma felt tempted. She thought of how hard they had worked, how tired she was, and how much better life could be with a little bit of wealth. Asari, she whispered, maybe we should listen. We could do so much good. But Asari shook his head. No, Emma, wealth isn't what makes us good. We need to be kind and share what little we have, not look for more. The man's smile faded. I see. You are a wise man, Asari. But know this. The choices you make now will not only affect you, but also those around you. With those words, the man turned and walked away, disappearing into the shadows. That night, while Asari slept, Emma tossed and turned. Her thoughts were filled with the man's words. She dreamed of gold, riches, and power, enough to change the village forever. In the morning, she woke up, determined to find the mysterious man and ask for his help. Without telling Asari, Emma slipped out of the house and into the forest. She followed the path where the man had disappeared the night before. Deeper and deeper she went, until the trees grew tall and twisted, and the air became cold. Suddenly, she found the man standing by a large old tree. I knew you would come, he said. Are you ready for your wish? Emma hesitated but then nodded. I want the wealth you promised. I want to help the village, and I want a better life for us. The man reached into his cloak and pulled out a small glowing stone. "Take this," he said. "It will give you everything you desire. But be warned, it comes with a price." Without thinking, Emma grabbed the stone. Instantly, she felt a rush of power. Visions of gold and treasures filled her mind, and she hurried back to the village, eager to share the news. But when Emma arrived home, strange things began to happen. The small plants in their garden withered, the sky grew dark, and the villagers started to argue with each other over small things. The air in the village felt heavy, as if something was terribly wrong. Asari noticed the change right away. "Emma, what did you do?" he asked, fear in his voice. Emma showed him the glowing stone. "It is a gift. It will bring us everything we need." But Asari's heart sank. "No, Emma, that man is not to be trusted. This stone isn't a blessing. It is a curse." Before they could react, the ground beneath them began to shake and the mysterious man's voice echoed in the wind. "You wanted riches, Emma. Now you will see the true cost of your greed." As the village trembled and darkness spread, Asari and Emma realized they had unleashed something far worse than they could have imagined. As the ground shook and darkness spread across the village, Asari grabbed Emma's hand. "We must stop this, Emma. We have to return the stone before it destroys everything." Emma, now realizing the terrible mistake she had made, nodded with tears in her eyes. "I'm sorry, Asari. I thought I was doing the right thing, but I was wrong." They ran toward the forest, following the path where Emma had met the mysterious man. The sky grew darker, and the trees seemed to twist and groan as if the forest itself was angry. In the distance, they saw the man standing under the large old tree, his eyes glowing with the same strange light as the stone. "You cannot stop it now," the man said, his voice echoing in the wind. "You asked for riches, and now you will pay the price." Asari stepped forward bravely. "We don't want your riches. We want our village back. We want peace." The man laughed coldly. "It is too late. The greed in your heart has already taken root. There is no going back." But Asari, with his strong will and kind heart, looked at Emma and said, "Greed can be powerful, but kindness and wisdom are stronger." Emma, filled with guilt and sorrow, held up the glowing stone. "I don't want this anymore," she said, her voice shaking. "I choose to give it back. Take it and leave us in peace." The man's eyes narrowed. "You think it's that simple?" Asari stepped forward and shouted, "Yes, we made a mistake, but we are choosing to do what's right now." Suddenly, the stone in Emma's hand began to glow even brighter. The mysterious man reached out for it, but before he could touch it, the stone cracked and shattered into 1,000 pieces. A blinding light filled the forest, and when it faded, the man was gone, as if he had never been there. The sky cleared, and the ground stopped shaking. The village, once dark and heavy with fear, was calm again. The trees straightened, the plants in the garden revived, and the villagers who had been quarreling stopped and looked around in confusion as peace returned. Emma fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face. "I'm so sorry, Asari. I let my greed take control again. I almost destroyed everything." Asari knelt beside her, gently lifting her up. "We all make mistakes, Emma. What matters is that we learn from them." As they walked back to the village, Emma realized that true happiness didn't come from riches or gold. It came from the simple joys of life: walking together, sharing, and being content with what you have. The villagers gathered around them, asking what had happened, and Asari and Emma told them everything. From that day forward, Emma changed. She no longer desired riches or treasures. Instead, she focused on helping her husband, sharing what they had, and being kind to others. The village prospered in a different way through kindness, cooperation, and gratitude. Now you know that greed can blind us to what truly matters in life. While wealth may seem tempting, true happiness comes from being kind, grateful, and content with what we have. Too much desire for more can bring disaster, but choosing to do what's right will always lead to peace and harmony. This is Umma's story time. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. I am Amarachi Ihoma, the young storyteller.